Hi, I'm Vanessa Anton, and I'm in San Diego, California, USA. And I want to thank you for coming to my virtual improv workshop, which I like to call Have Fun with Anyone. And this is something that I've created after 10 plus years of doing improv, half of that teaching it, and trying to find ways to make play more fun no matter what situation you're in. Even if it's a less desirable situation, maybe with people you don't know as well, people with different levels of experience in a new town, different styles, and it can be really frustrating if you're not open to just going with the easiest flow of things. So I just want to talk about some situations that we can sometimes perceive as really frustrating and really annoying in improv, and how can we just ease through them a little bit and play and just have a little more fun, sort of try on something new, get out of our comfort zone a little bit, and see if something surprises us and we find a new fun in that perceived frustrating situation. I also want to make a note that if you find yourself in a situation, in a jam, or in a play with friends, or wherever you are, Zoom, if you find that you're in a scene or you're playing with somebody, whether it's in person or virtual, and you feel like you feel attacked by the person, or you feel not safe playing with them, by all means, don't even bother continuing. That's not worth your time and what you have to offer. I'm basically here just talking about improv with different styles of people and out of your comfort zone. And when it gets to a point where you're like, I'm stuck in this scene, I don't know what to do, this is not what I enjoy, this is not fun. Maybe you have your duo partner or your teammates that you really have a good flow with. When you're in a great flow in improv, it's just the best feeling when you've got your people that you mesh with and you're just like, this is rad. But sometimes we don't feel that. Sometimes you get in a situation where you're like, oh, this is not fun. This is frustrating. What the heck am I gonna do? And then when you get yourself in that negative headspace, the tendency is to just continue in a bad spiral, and it's just not fun at all. So how can you lift yourself out of that and just kind of see what happens if you just go with the flow, catch the smoothest wave instead of trying to ride against it, and just see what happens. So I have some scenarios that I've done in some of these workshops or in some exercises that we've played with that tend to be scenarios that frustrate us or annoy us, or it's like, oh, these are such bad improv things to do. And I'm going to talk about ways that you can kind of deal with that, and maybe your scene can be more fun than you expected. And maybe you can find a way of playing that will help you through the situation that's frustrating. So I have a handful of things, and I'm going to start with the first one is when someone gives you in a scene an unappealing gift or an unpleasant gift, and you're like, oh, I don't want to be that. Or, you know, they gift you as you're a liar, you're a lazy person, you are really dumb, and you did bad at your SATs, whatever. If you get something like this and you're like, oh God, I don't want to play that, I want to play something that's more fun, don't fight it, because that's just going to cause conflict and frustration, and it's not going to get you into a nice, smooth place where you can just ride the wave of the scene. So, yeah, you got this unpleasant gift. Take it, know that the next minute or so, this is just going to be what you're going to do, and maybe something fun will come out of it. So what if you get, hey, you're lazy, you're the worst sibling ever, or whatever. Own up to it. Own up to that gift and be proud of it, or maybe you're going to apologize for it. So, I don't know, maybe you're proud of this, your character is. Play it up and have fun, and that's when you can really have fun with these situations. Yeah, be the laziest person. You're not even gonna get up to drink your coffee. This person's got to bring it to you. You're so lazy. Oh man, oh gosh, I'm so lazy, I don't even want to move my arm on this arm of the armchair. Can you move my arm for me? Like, how fun is it just to play with that? Or if you don't want to be lazy, maybe it's like the catalyst for that moment. You're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I know I've been lazy and I've been wanting to work on it. Can you help me? I know this is hurting our relationship. Maybe you pick like the vulnerable, emotional route and you confront it, and this is the time that you really hit home with your scene partner and really come together and figure out how you're going to fix this. So there's different ways you can play. Do you want to play a game with it? Do you want to be vulnerable? But just accept it as real in that scene for that moment and move with it. And the blocks will kind of come down a little bit, and it'll feel better just to ride that wave. Another thing that sometimes can be annoying is when, I'm looking at my notebook, when someone comes in with an initiation that's like forever. So let's say it's like, oh, so mom said that we have to take the car and then go to the store and pick up your sister, and then we're going to go, and you're just like, do I get a chance? And it's just like constant. And all of a sudden you have the whole story laid out for you, and you have like, what do you get to do? You don't have to worry about writing the story then. If someone else has written the story, just go with it. Maybe you can just enjoy being the listening character and do some object work. What's in this room? What's in this place? What's around? Can you just show some emotion on your face and use that time in that scene to play with some things? Maybe you don't get to do object work that much usually. Maybe you don't get to play with expressiveness or maybe one-word answers. How can you make those one-word answers kind of fun? Like, oh, sure. Oh, okay. Oh, And the audience is looking at this person thinking, boy, are they long-winded, this other character. And then they're looking at you the most as well because they want to see how you're responding to this. So you can have a lot of fun with that and just play with drawn-out responses if you have the time to, or quick little one-word answers with a specific tone. Maybe there's something interesting. Find a game in the object work. But if you just let go of the storyline. We should do that anyways in improv, but if you had an idea, bring it back later. Maybe you'll see it again someday, but you'll just do yourself a favor to just let it go and kind of just get into that world of maybe a little silence and see what happens. And maybe if you're silent, maybe someone else will be like, oh boy, did I talk too much? I don't know. Who knows? A variety of things could happen, but you'll have ended up practicing object work, emotional responses on your face. Maybe you introduce some new things. Maybe you can get in a little gift here and there, but you just have to sort of go with it, because that is a very frustrating thing to happen. And maybe later it's a conversation that you can have with that person if it's someone you play with a lot, and hey, I wish I'd gotten some ideas out, or some initiations or gifts I didn't get a chance to. It depends. It depends how much you want to invest in this. But this to me is just ways to play and enjoy the play, not really worry so much about the other people because they have to worry about themselves, and you can't control everything. And that's his improv. You can only control your reaction to what's happening. So you might as well try to have fun, and the easiest way to have fun is to find the smoothest path, the most easeful. I love the word easeful. I got that from Pam Victor. She's amazing, and I feel like I've used it ever since, because that's when the best things in life happen, when you just find the least resistant path. And so just let some stuff go and see if you can just play together. So here's another one. Let's see. Someone makes constant jokes, bits, pop culture references. Happens. Sometimes you're like, I've never seen that movie, or I'm not a bit person. I don't know puns. I don't know wordplay. I'm not interested. What do you do with that? Maybe you just respond with how you feel about the situation. You don't have to know about the thing that the person knows about. You can just respond with how you feel. Maybe the fact that they're talking so much about, I'm terrible at pop culture things, but they're talking so much about Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or whatever, and you're like, I don't know. Maybe you can just talk about how just their existence in that moment makes you feel, Are they excited? Are they over the top? Are they sad? Are they angry? How does their existence and what they're doing in that moment make you feel? And just talk about that, refer to that. You can also use repetition. You can repeat things that they say about a thing back and say, oh, that's really great that character whatever from the movie got the ring. Something. And maybe use that to kind of help yourself along. But I would say don't try to know anything you don't know. It's okay. Just talk about what you do know, and that's how you feel in that very moment, and see where that leads you. Maybe this is a intimate relationship you have with this person, and all they're talking about is jokes, bits, pop culture references, and you're like, what about me? Or maybe you're excited for them because you love them and you are happy that they're happy. What is happening in this moment that you can relate to in some way? And usually it's how you feel about the situation. So that's a nice thing to fall back on always. How you feel and how you feel about this person. No one else can describe that but you. So let's see. What about questions? This is another thing. If someone's just asking a ton of questions, well, sometimes that's fun because then you can write a whole story if you want to, but we're not really trying to write a story. We're just trying to do improv. And the improv can be really amazing when we're in the flow state of one little building block at a time. We're just building this together. And so it's really, you don't really want to ever take over the story, right? I guess it just depends. This is different for everybody. But if someone's asking you questions, emotions also can play here. Maybe you don't feel like answering all these questions. Maybe you don't know who you both are yet, where you are, why you're doing this, what's happening. Emotions, another thing. You feel how you feel. You can play and ask questions back. Who cares? It's improv. See what happens. But I say, look at this person. Feel the dynamic that's happening between you. Does it feel like a playful relationship? Does it feel like a loving relationship? Does it feel like there's a little content? How do you want to move forward with this person? And taking the time you need to figure that out is fine. You don't have to talk right away. So all of these situations, there's no need to say something right away. Silence is a perfectly fine and acceptable way to respond. Even on the internet. I initially thought when Zoom improv started during COVID, and I know internet improv has been around a lot before the pandemic, but I initially thought silence would be really hard, and I've come to learn that it's actually pretty great and we can utilize it even on the internet. So don't be afraid to take a moment to think about how you feel about what's happening, and then you can move forward. Do you want to play question game? Do you want to make up some stories and answer all these questions and make that the game? Do you want to talk about how you feel about this person? There's actually a whole ton of options, and it really just matters how you feel and what feels the most right to you. And actually playing sometimes with people that you're not as familiar with and playing these situations is where we learn the most. So sometimes it's the best to jump in a bunch of jams with people you don't know and just give it a try, see what happens, and see what you learn and see what new kinds of ways of responding you pick up and figure out and find fun to play. So let's see, another thing. We always talk about when we're learning improv, transaction scenes and teaching scenes are not something we should do, right? Transaction scenes, don't ever do them, or teaching scenes even. But I've seen some really great transaction scenes that had a really strange and interesting dynamics. So you can turn those into a fun scene if you just don't talk about the money at the register or talk about whatever you're learning, how to cook or build a bike, I don't know, whatever you're doing. If you look at the person and think about, what is this person to me? Why is this person here? What do I feel about them? And use that. So you can be in a transaction scene, but maybe that's an ex-partner, or maybe it's someone that's making you really nervous, or all of a sudden you realize, or an ex-boss, or your long-lost parent or something. how wild would that interaction be if it was a really intense person in your life that you never thought you'd see again, or anything like that? That could be really fun. And now all of a sudden, here you are at Starbucks with your ex-fiance or long lost father or whatever, and it's like, oh, I'll take that. You know, your last name. Oh, look, wait. Oh, I have that last name or whatever. You can really change it. So someone gives you that, you're not stuck with it. And same thing with a teaching scene. Maybe this person in the office you dated before, and it's like, this is really awkward situation. You know, like, you're teaching me how to do the financial books now, and we were engaged once. I don't know. You can find some ways to make it a little deeper than what it is. Or maybe it's somebody that you're going to have a relationship with, and that's even more fun. So the learning means, like, maybe you'll have a date soon, or maybe you'll, maybe something fun will come out of it. But playing with the dynamics of who the people are definitely helps with a base level transaction scene, and they can be really fun. Let's see, how about another one? How about someone comes in with a wacky town idea, and all of a sudden you're like, there's a whole bunch of different things going on, and maybe you're playing animals and we're on outer space, and you're like, oh God. If you just stick with emotional reactions and everyday perceptions or point of view, like, you know, oh gosh, I wish I hadn't got out of bed today, or geez, I knew this was going to be a hard day, or Mondays, am I right? Or whatever. Some very simple everyday feeling that we have in, like, this wacky world will be really fun to ground everything that's going on. Just a simple emotion, everyday feeling to kind of pull it back. And if you're in front of an audience, someone always hears that, and they're like, oh, there's something that I can relate to in all of this. And that's something that you can do to help yourself get through it until that scene is over. And then maybe afterwards, I bet the people in your scene will be like, thanks, that was so much fun. And let's see, let's do one more. Oh, what about if someone says no to everything? Oh, emotions. Just respond with how you feel, or maybe do some object work. I don't know, but try not to fight back. Don't argue. Just don't do it. It's not worth it to get into a fighting scene. And if you do find yourself getting into those moments of, you're like, no, I didn't. No, yes, I did. You did. No, I didn't take your car without. Just find a moment to shift that tone, and either you're walking away from that friendship or relationship, or you're admitting your fault. Like, just cave in. That helps in real life. It helps in improv. Accept defeat. It's okay. It's okay to be the one that doesn't win. In fact, it's better sometimes, because we like an underdog, and we like someone that's not always on top in improv. So those are some suggestions and things that I like to do in workshops when I'm with folks and playing this out in scenes. And it's really fun to try and play with what we think is horrible, a horribly awful scenario, and just having fun with it and seeing how terrible improv actually can be really great if we just have patience with the mistakes, with what we think are mistakes, and just flow through them as easily as possible. And of course, these are just ideas and things that I have found over time that have helped me, and I've seen helped other people. So you can use any of these, or you can walk away and be like, that girl, I don't know what's up with her. And that's fine. We're all on our own journey, and we're all figuring this out. And the point is, we come together, we play, and I hope that we have the best time we possibly can with what we have, and that's what this workshop is about. So thank you so much for being a part of this, and if you have any suggestions or questions about other scenarios, I'm always wanting to sort of dig into scenarios and how to make them better, or how to play in them, how to deal. So reach out. I would love to discuss this. I love discussing this stuff, and improv is amazing. And so are you. Thank you so much for being here. Again, I'm Vanessa Anton from San Diego, California, and this was my workshop, Have Fun with Anyone. See you later!